to try to get out of something. One of the things is some of the rules to remember with dealing with the police is know your rights. It's simple. You can just do a Google search. A lot of it I have on here right now, but always know your rights depending on the state that you're in, because every state is different, especially if you carry a weapon. You've got to know your rights, and when you're going, if you're traveling in your car, knowing where you can have your weapon and where you can't, and how it has to be carried in the car, because some states have different rules. Uh, to stay calm. One of the things I always tell people is if you're doing your job and you're talking to somebody and somebody have a phone like in your face like this doing this, you're gonna get offended. You're gonna get upset. That's not always the smart thing to do. A conversation is just as good as a video. Why not just put the phone on record and sit it down? Or just hold it and you still getting a recording of the conversation, you still have proof of the conversation. Another thing I think everybody should invest in is a dash cam. I have a dash cam in my car. It's a dual dash cam. One of the cameras is videoing the traffic, and the other one is my interaction with whoever I'm talking to. And the reason that's important, I've had an incident at a fast food restaurant where the person was being real rude, and I filed a complaint. So my dash cam, because when I was at the window, our conversation was being recorded to show this is what this person was doing. And so I don't have to do anything when the police stop me. I don't have to worry about my phone because my dash cam is recording everything. It's backed up on a server. It don't matter what they do. If they take the dash cam, they do whatever, they don't have the recording. So there's nothing they can do about it and it streams live on my phone. So do some research. I've had probably 5 dash cams. Amazon don't always have the best dash cams. They're cheaply made. You got to remember people are reselling these things. So do your research. Get a good. My dash cam I have now is really good. Like I said, it's backed up on my phone, and it cost me maybe I think like $120. Best dash cam I ever had.
Well, what brand do you have?
Nexar. I'll send it to you.
Okay.
And then a body cam if you carry your weapon everywhere you go. And the reason I say that is because you got to remember people. Although we live in a world where there's cameras everywhere, but people lie. Like if you have to pull your weapon, you have proof, and it may sound strange where I want to walk around with a body camera. You might just have it, it just depending on where you're going and what's going on, have a body camera. Especially if you open carry, I really would have a body camera. I don't suggest open carry, but that's for somebody else to talk about, not me. If you're pulled over for DWI, I don't care what they say, do not submit to the test, the field sobriety test or the breathalyzer. If you've been drinking, don't submit to those tests. Because the worst thing is if you don't submit to the test, they suspend your license for a period of time. But if you submit to the test and you fail it, they still gonna suspend your license, and you just gave them proof that you was drinking and driving. But if you don't submit to the test, by the time they get a warrant to take your blood or do whatever, you could have been sobered up or whatever. You may not. It's just not good to submit to any tests, because one, if you're tired, you can't. Those field sobriety tests are not admissible in court for one, but they use those to actually go to the next level. Just say no. I don't care what the officers say. Just say no. I always ask the police, of course, for whatever if they want to search your car, you say no. They don't have a warrant, they can't search your car. I don't care what they say. If they search it anyway, so what? You didn't give them permission to search it. And that's the key on if they arrest you for whatever reason, they violated your rights. But you have to do it the right way. Do not confess to anything. Officer pull you over and said, do you know how fast you was going? No. You don't say nothing. Where you was going, that's not his business. And I'm not saying be disrespectful, just be like, whatever. If you say I was speeding or whatever you're going to do, he can write your ticket, let him do it. Because if you're saying, oh, I'm just coming from my homeboy's party, okay, you just told him where he might need to see if you've been drinking. So he doesn't need to know where you was coming or where you were going. And it's just a respectful way to say that. And the only reason I'm saying it, a lot of people don't understand that, but you have to remember, put yourself in a position, if you're doing your job, how you would want somebody to do with you. I usually match their energy. You come to me correctly, then I'm gonna come to you correctly. Now, if they get out of hand, I'm immediately asking for a supervisor. I'm done. Ask for a supervisor because you're not gonna. The goal is to come home and your rights not be violated. So don't ever submit or admit to anything. Uh, don't touch them, even to pat them on the back or whatever, because you know what? They can always say you hit them. It's an assault. Just don't even do that. I always ask if you're free to go. They start going in depth, asking other questions. You don't submit the questions without an attorney present. They're gonna say a guilty person don't need an attorney, but a smart person does, and that's your response. Um, always file a complaint on an officer who has violated your rights or overstepped his authority, because that officer could have 5 complaints. Your complaint is the one that put him over the top. They get him fired. A lot of times nothing happened. A lot of times something do happen. You just may not hear about it. But your complaint could be the one. Somebody could have filed a lawsuit against this officer. You don't know about it, but you filed your complaint, and that complaint helped that person who's filed the lawsuit because this person has abused them. So you got to think like that. Always file a complaint because it's just filling out some paperwork. Don't do a verbal complaint. Whatever you do, don't do a verbal complaint. You always want to do a written complaint. Don't let the officer do that complaint for you. You do your own complaint and submit it, because they'll try to do it for you. It's always a good idea. Like I have this little card holder in my car that I keep my insurance card in. We're not really a state where you need your registration. They ask for your registration, but if you're traveling, like when I went to New Mexico, they asked for my registration. I didn't have it because I've never had an officer ask me for my registration. Now I have it. So it's best to keep all that stuff in one place, so when you get stopped, all you got to do is hand it to the officer. In most states, they can look up your insurance, but I still have my insurance card available because some officers just maybe being a butthole and don't want to look it up, and they still can give you a citation for it. Again, never fight on the road. They tell you to get out the car. You got to get out the car because there's no rule to say you don't have to get out the car if an officer tell you got to get out the car. The key is, if they're violating your rights, you fight that. You live to fight another day. That's the key. Because in that situation, you're probably not going to win. So if you get out the car, you haven't lost anything. You ask for a supervisor. That way, ask is his body camera on. If it's not, ask them to turn it on. Always ask them to turn on their body camera. Understand, again, your Fourth Amendment rights. Always understand what your rights are. Everybody should know what their rights are, what you can and can't do. Oh, I already went over the dash cams. That's another reason why body camera is important, because even if you have a body camera with you and you don't have it while you're driving, but you have your car camera, a lot of times officers are getting smart to find a reason for you to have to put your phone down. When you got your body camera on, he still can do whatever he needs to do. Your phone is not in his face, and he's still being recorded. And so that's another reason why it's good to have that body camera. In this sheet I give you, I'm not going to go over everything, but it gives you just basic things to know when you're stopped by police. Even if, like, some of this is mostly for driving, but if you're walking and you're not doing anything, you don't have, officer have to give you a reason why they're stopping you. They can't just stop you because you're walking and saying, they're going to always say, no, you fit the description. Well, what's that description? Who? What is the crime? You don't have to argue. You don't have to be belligerent. You can just be regular tone, ask the questions, and you don't owe them, you don't have to show them your ID because you're walking down the street. But if you're driving, you do. You have to show them your ID. You can't say, well, I don't have to show you my ID. I didn't do anything. you're driving, you do. You have to give them your ID. The passenger don't have to give them their ID. A passenger should never involve themselves in that conversation. So if you're pulled over and your passenger is in the car and they start asking the passenger, who are you, what are you? I don't have anything to say. And you leave it at that. I'm not saying that an officer is not going to abuse their authority, but you've done what you're supposed to do to help you in a legal fight, because you don't have to show your ID if you're a passenger and you're not driving the car. But you do if the only time you have to show your ID if you are walking or a passenger if you're being arrested. If you're being arrested, you not really show your ID, but you do have to identify yourself. You have to identify yourself if you're being arrested, because that is the law. But so at that time, and never ever give a fake name, because of course that's a whole nother charge. I think we talked about it. No, never. If an officer say, "Well, do you have any weapons or whatever in the car?" I got pulled over a few months ago, and he asked me, "Do I have a weapon in the car?" Yes, I do. And he asked me where it was. I said, "It's in my backpack." All he said to me now is, "Just don't touch the backpack." I was like, "Okay." But if he would ask me, could he search my car, I would tell him no, because he didn't have a reason to search my car. But I will tell you, there's a lot of people who think they can drive and smoke marijuana. If you get pulled over, you just gave that police probable cause to search your car. I don't care what you say. He walk up to that window and he smells marijuana, he can search your car. Because it's not legal in the state of Texas. Not legal federally, but that officer can search your car. So tell the young folks or whoever you know, if they're smoking marijuana, don't smoke it in the car. Now, my sister-in-law got pulled over, and her husband, and it was a black officer. He actually told them some stuff they could get on Amazon. He was really cool, that if they're going to be smoking and have marijuana in the car, he told them what they can use, what kind of pouch they can put it in and all that. I just don't suggest you smoke while driving, because you don't know when you're going to get pulled over. There is something called the plain view doctrine. So if you get pulled over and an officer sees something in plain view, then that can give them probable cause as well to search. But even if they have probable cause, I'm still saying no. They're going to do it anyway, but I'm still saying no. And the reason, the things I'm saying is, give your attorney something to fight with. Give them something to fight with by saying no, because you don't know what the outcome is going to be after that stop or after that interaction. A lot of times we have people come into the office and they like, such and such happened and this, and then we get the video and they just talk the whole time. They done told the whole story. And so, there was one case we were getting ready to file our motions to do all this different stuff, and then spoke with the district attorney. They sent us the video, and he said, "You been drinking?" He said, "Yeah, I had 3 glasses of wine. I haven't been to sleep for like 48 hours. We can't do nothing with that. I don't care if you say you had 1 glass of wine. You just told him you was drinking. That's a hard fight. So, because our initial thing is he was stopped at a pump at a gas station, and the officer pulled up. So we was thinking he didn't have a reason to stop him or to be searching him. Well, come to find out, somebody had made a 911 call to say that it was a suspicious person at the pump. They didn't know what was going on. But then when he got stopped, when the police came up to him, he just ran his mouth and told everything. So that kind of messed up his case. It would have been a good fight to say, why did you stop him at this pump? Search his car. But he gave them a reason to search when he said he was drinking. He had been drinking. And then there's also a law in the books to say you can't drive while you're tired. So don't tell the officer you've been up all night. you can't say I've been up all night, and so that's why I'm swerving, because you're not supposed to drive if you're like, that's still being impaired. So you don't want to do that. If you're witnessing police brutality for someone else, a lot of people say, why didn't you get involved? Why didn't you do this? I say video, because that video in George Floyd and all these other cases, is what helped their family get justice. The people would have charged them officers, they may have died also. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not saying, I mean, that's for you to decide, but I think videoing something you see wrong is a good idea. Documenting, always document. Try to get the police badge number, car, every number on the car, how many officers was out there. Just try to keep a mental note if you can, if you have to put in your phone or whatever. Even though it's not you that's being brutalized, it's someone else, you can always be a great witness to help that person, because without a lot of these videos, a lot of these people wouldn't have gotten justice. A lot of police wouldn't have gotten arrested. So videos have saved a lot of families and helped them get justice in cases where they wouldn't have gotten justice. Um, so that's always a good idea. You don't have to hide the fact that you're recording, but I don't suggest you put a phone in a police officer's face, like, just violating their space. I don't suggest you do that, because I know if somebody's all up in my face doing this, I'm gonna have a problem with that, officer or not. And Texas is a one-party state, meaning you can record any conversation that you are a part of. If I'm talking to Roe, I don't have to tell Roe I'm recording this conversation. Not in the state of Texas. If you go to California, it's illegal to record a conversation without letting the other person know. So know the state laws. Every state varies. But in Texas, you can record any conversation that you're a part of. You can record anywhere that there's no expectation of privacy. What I can't do is see these two gentlemen talking and place my phone right there and record their conversation. That is illegal. I can't do that. I'm not part of that conversation, and they have an expectation to their own privacy. Now, me recording in this room and I pick up a conversation, that's legal. So that's where people, uh, mess up as far as, recording private conversations that they're not a part of. But if you're a part of that conversation, you can record it. Don't care how many people's on the phone or there. You can record the conversation you're a part of. Again, like the police, a lot of times they'll try to confiscate your phone or your car and stuff. That's why I always say have a second device that you're recording on, because they're going to make you turn off your car. Unless your car, your dash cam, it's good to find a dash cam that records, like when it's plugged in, it still records if the car is off, or the body camera, or just another recording device. I don't know, if you have an iPhone, you can set up things in your iPhone and say, like, if you're getting stopped, you can say, call the police, call my family, and it will actually do it. I have to go in it and see exactly how to set it up, but I haven't set up. I just don't remember offhand. And your phone will automatically do it. That's all you have to say, and it'll automatically do what you asked it to do. It's on the, yeah, I don't remember what it is, but I can go in there and find out what it is and let you know exactly. Last thing is police at your door, come to your house. Don't go outside and don't let them in. Lock the screen door if you have a screen door. Talk to them from there. They want you to come outside because they have more rights outside opposed to you being inside. So stay inside, talk to them, ask them what they want. Don't let them in if they don't have a warrant. Of course, if you call them and that interaction is what you want, then that's one thing. But if the police is called on you and they come to your house, don't let them in the house. And don't go outside. They may say, hey, step on the porch and talk to me. No, don't do that. No, I'll talk to you from right here. Don't go outside. And again, if you feel like your rights are being violated, always file a complaint. Please file a complaint. That's the biggest mistake we make, is not filing complaints. We have to file complaints. I don't care if nothing happens. If everybody would file a complaint, I guarantee you that ain't that officer's first time. Think of how many complaints they could have. And at some point, a lawsuit is filed or something happens, and you pull up this officer's file and all these complaints have been filed. It's going to help. So that's all I have. And you all have some questions.
part of the thing you're talking, going back at the election, talking about when you stop while you're walking, remember to ask for the incident number. That supports your argument against that. They'll say there is not, there's always. If they go out and say they stopped you because they got a so-called, what's the incident number?
Yep.
If they say they don't have one, you know they're screwing with you.
Yep. It's gonna always be an incident number. They may say, oh, it was a man in a green shirt walking down the street or whatever. Well, there is an incident number to every single phone call. So that's a good one to do.
As far as, say, like, let's say cops come to your door, uninvited, do you even have to even open the door, even answer the door? I mean, come on.
You don't.
Right, so.
You don't. But some people want to know what they're there for, you know.
Yeah.
Now, if they have a felony warrant, you got to, and they say they have a felony warrant and we're going to come in, they're coming in. That's the only way they can come in.
They might not even knock me in.
Right. They might not. They, you know, so they don't, I mean, if they have a felony or warrant for someone that they know is in that house, but they have to know that person is in there. And then, you know, of course, if they come to your house and they say, is such and such in here, and you say no, they wait outside and they come out, you can be charged with a crime. If they, you know, they'll tell you that though. So, no, you don't have to open the door.
Now, traffic stops. So, isn't there, at least I heard that somebody, there's certain things that the officers supposed to do. They're supposed to identify themselves, is that right? Or is that the case?
They're gonna, when they walk up to the window, I don't know if they ever identify themselves. I think they would have to identify themselves if you ask, what's your name and badge number?
You gotta ask them.
They have to tell you that.
Okay.
But I don't think they have to walk up to the window and say, I'm officer such and such, you know. But you should ask and then get their badge number. And the reason I say do it sometime at the beginning, you don't even have to ask. You see their badge sometimes in their name. You might want to write it down because if that interaction goes left, you already have it.
A lot of times it's not a law, but certain precincts department, that's their protocols to.
Yeah, it might be.
But it's not a law that they have to.
Yeah, it's not a normal thing that they walk up and say, I'm officer such and such. They do have to identify themselves if you ask them.
The other thing is, I know a couple different instances, state troopers, the way they do it is like, you know, like if someone's traveling.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the only people I know would be black folks that this happened to, but I don't know whatever. Like this one lady, she was by herself, single lady, driving down 35, what else? A cop stops her, side of the road highway, and asked to search her car. And she got scared and, you know, let him do it. He didn't find anything. But she didn't have a, what do you call it? She had a vanity plate, she said, on the front of her car. At the end of all this thing,
Right.
that was the reason why he stopped her.
But she let him search. So she doesn't have,
Right.
she can't say, you know,
that's what I was thinking that she had to let him search. You know.
don't. And some of them going to be like, well, we're going to hold you up. We're going to call the dogs. You're going to let us search. Here's the problem with that. They can do that, but there's a certain amount of time they have to write a ticket and get the dogs there to search, or they violated your rights. So you may have to fight them another day. That's why I say no. If they want to hold you up and he take an hour, 2 hours to write that ticket, you really didn't violate you because it doesn't take 2 hours to write a ticket. So he has to have that K9 there by the amount of time it takes him to write you a ticket. So, you know, but they can't bring the dogs out and search around your car. But, you know.
Let's talk about that scenario. Okay, because there's actually a scenario was the other one referred to. Maybe on that one, the person said no, as far as the search. And they did the K9. But what they did is, one of the guys that came out, they had the passenger, the driver, one person, on the passenger side of the car.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so he couldn't do anything because the other officer said, you know,
Right.
they did the dogs around there and they said they had a hit on the driver side, what do you call it, the window, not window, the mirror.
Right.
And so they searched it. Even though he said, no, you can't search it. They didn't find anything. But he's like, how, I mean, that dog, I can't see the dog. How I know?
Well, if you don't find anything and they did that, that's where your complaint come in. You see, because one, if they're doing that to 10 other people, they've
Exactly.
done that to that is another reason why you still say no. They're gonna do some things they're gonna do illegally and they're gonna do. You just want to be in a position to fight that or file a complaint against it.
So that person should have filed a complaint.
They should have filed a complaint
Okay. Yeah.
because that dog didn't get a hit.
Yeah, it happened.
You know, really, but you don't know.
They didn't find anything.
A lot of times they will say that though.
Yeah.
You know, but you got to know those dogs, the scent, you know, the slightest little scent, they can get hits off of. You know, it's like going on planes. People think they can go to Las Vegas, Denver, and come back with that marijuana. I've seen people arrested coming off the plane because they have those dogs sometimes right there when you're getting off the plane.
Yeah.
Man, they right there, so be careful. And then a lot of times the troopers are right at the county line, coming from Oklahoma, coming from places where they know where marijuana, where it's legal. And they'll stop you just because they know a lot of people bring it back. So people have to be careful about that too. Because even though it's legal to smoke in that state, it's illegal to bring it back to a state that is not legal in. So you have to watch that.
It's what do you call it? Legal Shield. It's another one. Where if you get something like that, you can call an attorney. But I found another thing. There's an app called Turn Signal, where you get stopped by the cops. It's like $60 a year or something. You press that app, a live attorney will come on. It's recording on the Zoom type thing. So they're actually the attorney's talking for you to that cop.
Yeah, I don't want to stop anybody's hustle. I'm not a Legal Shield fan, just because I would rather invest my money, monthly money, in an attorney.
Yeah.
Because I don't think what you pay in Legal Shield is going to provide the full legal defense for you.
Yeah.
Sometimes they'll write a letter, they may give you a free consultation, but there's other ways. You don't really need an attorney at a traffic stop because what are they going to do? At that traffic, the officer's not going to listen to them either. You just need to know your rights and say no. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're paying for something that you really can do. And now, if it may work for some people, it doesn't for me. But that's because I'm in the legal field. I just don't see paying a fee for something that's not going to give me a full defense. But you know, there is another Justin Moore. He's a criminal attorney. He's a civil rights attorney. He has a app as well that will automatically come on that you can press if you're stopped by the police, and that app will automatically start recording. It's called, is it Rights or whatever? It's REYETS, and he started this. He's a prominent civil rights attorney, and him and his partner developed this app that if you're stopped by the police and you press it, it automatically starts recording. Yes.
Man, but someone said, because at one time I was doing the Legal Shield and I kept it. Someone said when your kids start getting older, I don't have one son, but they were saying when they get older and if they go out to school and stuff, they recommend to do the Legal Shield because if something does happen, like you said, the way how things just happens or how they want to just pull people, they said that when he has his card or when he mentioned that name, sometimes they already know to kind of.
I've never experienced a police that's going to be scared because you got Legal Shield or you have an attorney. They just not. I mean, I don't think that's going to deter them from doing what they're going to do, honestly. Now, since she said that, school, please tell your kids not to write a statement at school without you being present. Please, because the schools are having these kids come in the office with the school resource officer, telling them everything that just happened, and then getting suspended.
Yeah, but one lady was telling me about that a couple weeks ago.
Stop. I don't care what they say. Respectfully, I will talk to you when my mom or dad get here.
Well, what about the college thing, though? I'm not talking about.
Same thing. A college person is the same as an adult. Nobody should be writing a statement without a lawyer present. And your child at school, you don't have to go as far as a lawyer, but when you get there, your child don't need to be writing down anything. Because especially if they was involved in that incident, because that is going to be used against them. So they'll have these kids come in the office. Well, tell me what happened between you and such and such. They write this long thing. And then now when you try to fight the suspension because they were being bullied or whatever, they just told them everything. And half the time kids don't know how to explain themselves.
Yeah, that's what happened to that lady. Her son was special needs and
Yeah.
he was being bullied.
And they don't know how to explain themselves. So, and then I've heard principals say, well, I tried to call mom and she wasn't available. So we just went ahead and talked. No. Your kid need to know. Don't talk to anybody, because the police officer, if they arrest a child, they have to take them in front of a magistrate, and a magistrate is going to read them their rights. And once they do that, then they can start talking to them. But you got to let your kids know, don't talk to the police, don't talk to the school principal, anybody without you being present. Now, when you get there, you talk to your kid in private, find out what happened, then you make that decision.
My son, he doesn't have.
I mean, I'm just saying in general, if you know anybody with kids.
Like but yeah, she was just,
You know.
I just meet so many people because I work in the community sometimes and I meet so many people that have teen kids or teen people. And so she was just randomly just telling me a story like that.
Yeah.
And I thought that was so messed up because now her son's special needs and it seems like he has a record on him for something that's not even right.
That he should have never probably talked about, whatever.
Yeah.
So.
You mentioned whatever service paying a monthly fee for actual attorney.
Mhm.
Do you recommend any?
Depending on, I can talk to you about that on, depending on what you're looking for. Some attorneys, their retainers are extremely high. Some of them don't like to do it like that. But I would suggest any monthly money goes forward, because you can pay. Say for instance, if you have an issue, you can pay an attorney to write a letter for you. You have to really figure out a legal shield work for you. Sometimes they will write a letter for you, but that might be, if you go out and you're charged with a DWI, they're not finna handle your DWI case based on what you're paying them on, because that's not gonna happen. So you just have to see if it's right for you. And some people like it, it's just not. So, any other questions, comments, statements?
Thank you. Thank you.
Who up next? What'd you say?
What would you all speak about? Serena, they got me.
Yeah, sorry.
Serena, they got me.
Okay, sure will.
Yeah, sorry, it's been county for sure.
Okay.
You can always call me for sure.
Thank you, Serena. Just, yes.
Road rage?
We can do road rage next. Y'all give me a second. Just to piggyback off of Serena, my personal experience, I have both Legal Shield and I currently have firearm legal protection. Oops. When y'all talking, we got to be in front of the line. I have Legal Shield and firearm legal protection. Legal Shield, got rid of it a long time ago because she's right. They're not really going to do anything for you. They may write a letter or something like that. If you carry a firearm, I would highly suggest to have some type of insurance. Firearm legal protection, we do have a relationship with them. If something happens, it can be your firearm, it can be a rock, it can be a paper clip, whatever weapon or whatever device you use to defend yourself, they'll defend you. I pay $19 something a month, and I get what are those witnesses? Expert witnesses.
$1 million bond.
$1 million bond. So if Legal Shield will not come get you out of jail. Firearm legal protection will come get you out of jail with $1 million bond. Any expert witnesses, which would have cost tens of thousands of dollars, come included, and they will take you from the beginning of the trial all the way through the end. So if you carry a firearm, make sure you have some type of protection. Like I said, I only pay $19 a month.
All right.
Firearm legal protection,
I think I paid $16 a month.
FLP.
Me and my daughter.
So that's a peace of mind. So if you do carry a firearm and something you I don't want to go to jail, you ain't got to worry about it now. Put a pound on target. So, yeah, it's just that peace of mind. What I mean, you would think, I mean, some people would think that you can't pay for bail or something like that, so I'm not gonna do what I normally would have done. I don't have those words. So if something does happen, I can
And
comfortably,
don't be afraid, because if you've never been in trouble before, and sometimes it's like small things, you can get, the bail system has changed to where you can get out on your own requirements now. They really changed the bail system, but again, if firearm protection gives you that type of protection, and you really carry your firearm all the time, it's probably a good thing.
and again, it's not just firearms, any type of device you have in your hand to defend yourself, they will defend you for it. So, alrighty, next on the list, we're gonna bring Phyllis Petit up with Hewitt P. Newton Gun Club. She's gonna talk about road rage and situational awareness. And y'all do us a favor, whoever's speaking, kind of speak in front of the iPad so you can be on live.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon.
Well, I was going to print out some things to hand out, but I ran out of ink this morning. So I want to ask everybody in the audience to be honest. Do you think that you're an aggressive driver?
Can be.
Okay, raise your hand again. What's your biggest pet peeve when you're driving?
People swerving in front of me.
Okay. What's
Trying
your
to get
biggest
over.
pet peeve?
Driving in the fast lane slow.
Oh, that's mine too.
Okay. Lynette?
Move over.
Driving in the slow lane slow.
Right, drop speed.
Okay, Joy.
Not use your blinker.
Just
Oh.
getting over.
That's me.
Yeah, that should be out.
Okay. So I'm glad that you all admit that, right? Primarily, okay. You gotta.
You'll
Okay.
laugh about me.
No, I've
I
heard.
have a scooter,
Uh-huh.
and me having to want to cross, and the other people want maybe cross or
Mm-hmm.
see me and won't.
Yeah, it won't move.
Right.
Be courteous, right?
I just,
Yeah.
just like driving sometimes.
Okay.
I wanna
Well, I
move
appreciate
my
your honesty.
scooter.
Yeah. Now, I think that we know the main cause of road rage is ego and pride. People won't get out of their own ego and pride, feeling like I was here first. Don't get in front of me. Right? Texas is one of the states, two cities in Texas have the largest amount of road rage killings. Texas, which two cities do you think it is?
Dallas.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
Probably Dallas.
Austin.
Houston, and San Antonio. Yes. Houston and Texas had 52.4% more gun-involved road rage incidents than the next leading state, which is Florida, which had 488 incidents over the same time. California, the most populous state in the U.S., which was third with 321 incidents. Houston led the nation by a large margin for the most road rage incidents involving a gun, with 215 between 2014 and 2023. That is more than double the next highest number, which is 107, reported by Memphis, Tennessee, and San Antonio. Texas leads the nation in the number of road rage shooting incidents. And that is really sad, because you're not even in direct contact with these people. How does it come to an incident where you have left your vehicle, right, and get involved with someone physically and or violently to shoot them? You may even have your family in the car with you, but you won't get out of your pride or your ego and let it go, right? So today we're going to talk about de-escalating those situations, right? First thing we do is what? Huh?
Take a breath.
There you go. You take a breath and you breathe and you stop and think about it. Is it worth it? That's first. Is it worth the time it's going to take me to either get out of jail, because you're going to jail. Somebody going to ride. When the police come, somebody going to ride. If you use your car as a weapon, you're certainly going to jail. You're in a what, 2-ton car going at how many ever miles per hour to get past whoever just made you mad to end up right at the light with them. Right?
Right.
And then let's say I'm riding beside you, right?
Mhm.
And I try to flag you down because I forgot this is where I need to get over, right?
Mhm.
And I'm trying to get your attention. Would you let me over? And you go,
Yeah.
you should have been here first. Right? What does it cost you to let that person over? It doesn't cost you anything.
Except if they get in front of me and drive.
It goes slow.
Well, what you do at that point, you fall back, find your place to get over, left or right, and go about your business. Right?
Right, you're right.
And even when you're in the car and someone did something that you didn't like, and you in the car going off, you cussing everybody in the car with you out because they don't hear you. But then say for instance they do see you. And then they get an attitude.
Mhm.
When I was younger, a very young child, we were in South Dallas. And to this day, I don't honk at people. We were at a light and the light turned green and the man didn't go. He took him a few minutes. We got to the next light. A gentleman in another car pulled up beside him, the man who he blew at, and blew his brains out.
Wow.
To this day, I don't blow my horn at nobody. Baby, you got to be on top of me for me to blow my horn at you. Like, don't hit me. I am not blowing my horn at anybody. Right? So what we need to do is, when we have these situations, someone's really provoking you because they're mad, they're pissed, they're angry, stay looking forward. Don't get eye contact. You may seem crazy, whatever, but your goal is to make it home safe or make it to your destination safe. Because even a car accident, it's a huge inconvenience. If you have an accident that equates to your vehicle being you can't even drive it, insurance don't care how long it takes for you to get another one. And you can't just go get another car. I don't know what your credit look like, but you got to prove you can pay for two. Because you're not going to get another one until they finish doing what they got to do with that one to get it cleared off your credit. I've been through that as well. So a simple moment to get out of your feelings, get out of your ego and your pride and your emotions. Take your time. Give it to them. It's a whole big road out there. Right?
Right.
So if you come upon someone that says, you at the light, they say you did something you didn't even realize you did. You accidentally kind of cut somebody off. You look, oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't see you. But they not trying to hear it, right? What do you think you do? What would you do in that situation?
Walk away.
Huh?
Walk away.
Walk away. You in the car.
Drive away.
There you go. Do not leave your vehicle. And if they approach your vehicle and you're at a light, first of all, if you carry, if they coming at me when they have a weapon, they're not going to get to me. That's just what that is. Situational awareness. Watch and see if that car is still following you. My daughter and I had that situation a couple of months ago. A man was trying to get over. It was taking him forever. His blinker was on. I was like, well, I guess he doesn't want to get over. So I went ahead and passed him up. Few miles down the road, I realized he's behind us still. Right? I turned, he turned. I turned again, he turned. Now, had I not been paying attention and just went on home, he would have followed me home. So I tell my daughter, hand me my purse. And she says, you want me to get it out? No, I don't want your fingerprints on it. I got this. Yeah, you just get 911 on the ready. I turn, he turned. I turn again, he turned. I was like, he is really following me. I make a few cuts through the neighborhood to avoid, see if I can lose him if he, I was like, he's obviously following me. I know the neighborhood, so I make the block. I come back around. He got stuck with a bunch of cars parked in front of houses. I done zipped in and out. As he's coming back out, I guess he done gave up. I done made the block again, and I drive right by him real slow. tried again, but I never went home until I was for sure that he was nowhere in the area. And going to a police station, I'm gonna say this. People say go to a police station. That doesn't work. Unless you're gonna call the police and tell them this person is following me and I am on my way. I'm in this car and they're in that car. Because they're not just standing outside the police
It has to
station.
be an open police station where they can vision, because most of them, they can't see outside.
I was gonna say they can't even see outside. And I in the neighborhood where I live, it's a very small police station. And I never see them. I was like, is this the police station or is this the police
They
station?
never
I don't know which building it is.
No windows.
Nothing. Right? And I have also been told, advised, go to a hospital. Right where the emergency room is, there's lots of ambulances, there's lots of police and security, always at the emergency section. If you really think that you're threatened, if there's a threat, you go to the hospital, pull up in the emergency section, lay on it.
Lay into
Now,
your
the
forearm.
police don't come out of the hospital.
They will.
Especially if you pull up in that area where you ain't supposed to park.
Exactly. Just pull up in emergency, like you blocking where the ambulances come. They're coming outside. They're going to come outside.
That's a good one. I never thought about it.
Yes. You avoid eye contact. You keep looking straight ahead and let the other car pass you. You're still going to get where you go in one piece, in peace. No harm, no foul. Right? Yes.
If you have a passenger in the car, like in this, and they're behind you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully they have license plate on the front. And the passenger can write down the license plate, and the description of the car and all that. You know.
Yeah, if you do. But if you have a dash camera, as Tarina was talking about, speaking of, then you're okay, right? But if you really feel like you're being threatened, you just keep riding. You don't get no eye contact. Now, if they pull out a weapon and start shooting, you do what you can to, watch them. Watch them. If they're speeding up to get caught up with you, because you've passed them and they're very intentional about catching up with you. You don't know what they're going to do, what their intention is. I would say you fall back some, see if they keep going. If they don't, and they just come here and here with you, fall back. If there's no cars behind you, hit your brakes, fall back. Because you don't know if they're getting ready to draw and shoot or whatever, right? Do what you can to avoid imminent danger. Always remember, one car ahead of you or behind you won't make a difference in what time you get to where you're going. And we already knew when we learned how to drive, we have to drive not only for ourselves, but for everyone else on the road, right? And that doesn't make you any less of a person. It don't make you weak or any of that if you let someone in front of you. Because I'm always going, go ahead. Go ahead. I've never gotten a ticket in my life. Wow. And I've taught myself how to drive. But I've never gotten a traffic ticket. Now, my friends say, you drive slow. Oh, that's all right. I get to where I'm going on time. My car ain't rattling because I'm driving it all hard. It ain't got no bunch of dents and dings in it.
Just don't get in the left lane.
But I get in the middle. I like to ride in the middle. But making sure that you get where you're going in one piece and paying attention to your surroundings. Because, like I said, you could do something to someone and you didn't even know you did, but they took it in a way. I had a situation at a gas station. A young man said, you so-and-so, you saw me about to pull into that tank, to that pump, and whoop, whoop, whoop. And I'm saying to myself, what is he talking about? But I never said a word to him. And his friend, man, that bro got a gun. Because I just took my little t-shirt I had on the holster that day. I just made it a little tight, put my hand on my hip just so he could see it. Keep talking. I'm going to literally light it up out here. You don't bother nobody, won't nobody bother you. That's the saying. But nowadays, we know that's not always true. People come out the bag, they have an attitude, they going through a bad day. I don't know if y'all have ever seen the movie Unhinged. He didn't care. He burned down that whole house, killed the whole family behind her blowing her horn at him.
But he had a bad day.
A bad day. That's what I'm saying. You never know what the other person is going through. You know, you could be having a bad day yourself. Turn on some easy listening, some rap, whatever. And even if you know you're an aggressive driver, I advise you not to listen to aggressive music because it doesn't make it any better.
That'll make you want to stab somebody.
It just, it does not make it any better for you. You know, stop and think about, I want to get home in one piece. I want to get home to my family. And even if you have your kids in the car with you, you got to think about that. You got your family in the car with you. They may not care about their family, but you care about yours. And you want to get back home to them in one piece. Yeah, they don't care. They'll shoot in a car. Now, just recently, there was 2 gentlemen had a fight on the side of the road. One man put out a gun, was trying to shoot the other man, shot his daughter. So that man put out his gun and shot the other man's daughter, trying to shoot out the tire and shot the daughter. Both of them shot each other's daughters, a 14-year-old girl and a 5-year-old girl. And neither child had anything to do with it. Right? So, what's the first thing we do?
Breathe.
What's the second thing we do?
No eye contact.
And then let them pass you. Right? And then what's the other one? Slow down, switch lanes gradually so that you're no longer near that car. If they're persistent and you know that they're following you, find a hospital, go to the emergency room section, get on the phone and call the police while you're en route, right? If you have a passenger in the car, don't let them egg you on. If they, hot-headed and ready to fight, shut it up. I'm gonna need you, and you ain't riding with me no more. No, I'm serious, because all of us have friends that they already, if you knock, they gonna buck. They ready. They looking for a fight. They don't mind. I do. Right? Remember those things. And please and thank you get you a long way. It really does. And a little respect goes a long way, especially on the road. Trouble is easy to get into and hell to get out of. Simply because you wanted to be first at the light. Right? Anybody got any questions? Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, I just remember we talked about earlier, a couple of months ago, the guy on the motorcycle and another family met in the same lane. He swerved off, pulled his pistol out, started shooting, and shot the 2-year-old baby in the back. That happened in Dallas a couple of weeks ago. So it's real. Political climate is about to get worse. People are going, all kind of nerves are going to be stepped on next few months. So be aware of your surroundings, and definitely road rage. Keep that in check. All righty, Mr. Gibson.
Everybody want to take a break? So take a couple minutes.
Okay, we're gonna take a few minutes break. Mr. Gibson has a lot of equipment to get ready, and then we're gonna have our bug out bag and survival 101 class next. Thank y'all.